Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, the day we've all been waiting for, almost the day we've all been waiting for, the beta of Linux Mint 21.2 has been released. So today we are going to have a brief look at this. We're going to start by just looking at the release notes. Then we're going to walk through the major changes in the distribution, and we're going to end looking at the new updates, those types of things that, other things that you just don't see looking at the distribution. There's a lot under the hood here. They've done a lot of good things here to make this distribution work. And I look forward to testing a few of these, which will be harder to do in a virtual machine, but I will test it on real hardware as soon as it's out. Namely, I'm mostly interested in the new thumbnail systems that they have going on, because that is one of the current problems with Linux Mint is that I have, is that thumbnails do not always generate well. And I'm really curious to see how that performs. But I'm going to need to wait for the full release, and I'm going to need to test that in production to know for sure. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a look at the release notes. These are the things that are going to be most important as you are testing the beta here. This is Victoria is the code name, 21.2. This will be supported until 2027, so if you install it now, you got a good 4 years of updated software and security updates. There are a few issues. There is a secure boot issue. This is not just Linux Mint. This is pretty much every Ubuntu and the anything that's a downstream derivative of Ubuntu. This was probably not going to be a problem on LMDE as long as that current version supports it. I know the new Debian 12 does. I just don't remember if the old Debian 11 did or not. But this is a problem with secure boot, so if you're having a problem getting it to boot, just disable secure boot as soon as that patch is in place, in one place. And there's a lot of teams. Linux Mint's working on this. Ubuntu's working on it. Whoever gets it first patches it, and it's patched for everybody. So we're looking forward to that, but if you are relying on secure boot, you might have an issue. There is a boot out error out of memory that they mentioned here, and they say if you do experience this issue, prepare a live USB with Rufus seems to solve it. I'm testing this on a virtual machine. I have not tested it out on real hardware yet. We'll go ahead and do that. And then shutdown timer is reduced to 10 seconds. I've actually had a few cases, particularly when I have mounted volumes and I unmount the volume, but I don't actually pull it out of the machine. I do notice my boot lag, my shutdowns lag. So it'll be interesting to see. And then if you rely on lengthier operations to finish, then you can go ahead and adjust this file and change the timeout value here as you like. I saw a meme the other day, and it was how Linux shuts down. It's a penguin holding a gun and shoots an application. Yep. Sounds about right. Grub 2 theme and high DPI. So if you are running high DPI monitor, if your Grub screen is too small, there's a package to install. The Grub 2 theme Mint 2K package will fix high DPI situations. And of course, as always, the Snap Store is disabled. You can read about how to fix and why this is in this link over here. Of course, they're not taking this, you should never, ever, ever, ever do this. They just took this draconian measure to block the snaps because Ubuntu is pushing some packages that if you install something on apt, it will install the Snap Store and install a snap instead. And they think that that's fairly deceptive in how it works, so that's what they do. There are a few issues on VirtualBox. I actually installed the guest editions on mine, not something I usually have to do on the Ubuntu version. It's just it was not capturing and maintaining my screen resolution. So I did install the VirtualBox guest editions, and I just did it the usual way. Go into the menu, install guest edition CD, push the button, enter the password, and it was done. I did not have any of the gargled screen or the black screen issue. Hopefully we don't have any as we record our video. Home directory encryption. If you're using this, just note that it is a little bit slower. But you can enable it or disable it, and guest editions, you can set this up in the login window utility, but it is disabled by default, so guests cannot log into your system by default. You can turn that on. There is some commentary on touchpad drivers, and also I saw something on Lenovo keyboards. So Lenovo keyboard laptops, you might have an issue. Make sure you have a spare keyboard that you can plug in to fix it. And then there is an issue here about how to fix that. I don't know why they have the stuff about wine stuff. And sound and microphone issues. Linux Mint has had sound and microphone issues over the time. They just say install pulse audio volume control. I should probably do that on my main streaming system at this point in time because of how many times I've actually had to fight with it. But oh well, it doesn't bother me too much. And so there is installing codecs, solving freezing during the boot sequence, and not a whole lot else as far as the release notes are concerned. Overall, this does seem like just a very good system, and in my initial testing, I am really excited to see this guy work. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the virtual machine and see what it looks like. So here we are logging in. So we're back to our login screen. They did make a slight change up here in the layouts. So there are a lot more layouts options here. This is not something I used a lot, so I couldn't tell you if it is specifically different or not. And then we do actually have the option to show your password. I'm definitely not going to show you my super secret password. That's definitely not 123, but you could click that if you actually wanted to see it. Here's your options. If you had extra desktop environments installed, you would see them there. And so let's go ahead and get logged into the system. All right, so logged into the system here, we have our welcome screen. This is the ordinary here, but there are a few small changes. The biggest one is when you go down to first steps, you used to have the option up here to control the desktop look and the with the colors and things like that. They've taken this out and just pushed a launch button instead because there is a brand new way to manage themes, which is tied to Cinnamon, not specifically to Linux Mint and the welcome screen. So hopefully that means it will apply to other desktops or other distros using Cinnamon, but I don't know for sure yet. We'll see. One thing I do notice missing that makes me kind of sad is they do not have the old traditional versus modern layout. So that was this. As I've said before, I absolutely hate the new way, just how modern desktops work. I want these to be quick launch icons, not crap pinned to the taskbar. This is fixable, but it is going to take a few extra steps. I actually have a video about how to fix those. If you, like me, like the taskbars to be displayed and you like these to be quick launch buttons and not pinning crap to the taskbar, which I find the most useless garbage ever seen in the history of computing. I'm very sad that they have taken that out now. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. Maybe it's here hidden somewhere. I'm not going to stress over it because it's just a few adjustments that you make inside of the panel, doing the panel settings and whatnot. I'm not going to take the time to show it here. I will link a video that I have down below about how to do that. But let's go ahead and look at everything else. Nothing else in here has changed as far as I see. But let's go ahead and start with the desktop themes. So inside of here, this is now tied directly in. In fact, let's not do it from here. Let's go ahead and do it from the system settings. It will get to the same spot. System settings, click on themes, and this is the new theme panel. So you can see here that we have the option to do colors. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a window with our folders in it so you can kind of see what this means as far as everything. So one of those things in the theming you can see as you highlight over the sidebar here in Nemo, it no longer highlights in the system color, it just does gray. It's a good way of muting it down so you didn't get overwhelmed with the accent color of the system. But we do have options here where we have kind of a darker blue with a light blue folder. If you do like those yellow folders, you can click on this one here and then you'll get the blue accents with the yellow folders. So basically you have the left side is going to be your accent colors and the right side is going to be your folder. Sad we don't get a layout difference for every single color, but there's enough to make it interesting. So you can see this one here, you have a more of an aqua, but you have the teal folders, and then here's your old traditional green, here's your brown, your gray, and your orange. Here's your red. Yes, I did skip one intentionally. We'll get to that one in a moment. And then here is your purple. The one we skipped, this is your Ubuntu theming. So this kind of covers your system, basically themes it up in the way that a kind of Ubuntu Cinnamon would look. So people talk about there's Linux Mint is redundant now because Ubuntu Cinnamon. Nah, now we have the theming. Now Ubuntu Cinnamon is redundant. We have Ubuntu theming and Linux Mint. But anyway, I'm not a huge fan of that. Let's just go back to this one here for now. We do also have a full dark. We have a full help I'm blind light. And we do have the mixed. I do wish that the mixed did what the old Y did, with the top bars are dark and everything below it's light. That is something I do miss in the theming as I look at my monitoring PC over here, and that's how I have it set up. I do really like that elegance of splitting out your top bar with your icons from the bottom. But anyway, that's not an option as far as the simple one. We do have the option to go back into your Mint Y if you like that old Linux Mint 17 look. Here's our Mint L. I'm wondering if we do any mix. Okay, so doing your mixed over here, Mint L, kind of gets me what I was looking for. Okay, so that actually might be what I do, is go with the Mint L instead of the Mint Y. I do actually like that look quite a bit better, if I'm honest. I do. And let's go to the mixed. Yeah, I do like that look. I like this look quite a bit better, if I'm being honest. Now, if you do like the old way of managing it, clicking advanced settings, this brings you back exactly where you were before. Here's your settings, your scroll bar settings, your add remove themes, and you can go ahead and choose all of your different cursor dots over here, your cursor icons. Here's all those buttons are still here. Here's all your icons are still here. Way more than you would ever possibly want. Some would say there's too many, and way too many of these as well. So if you do want the simplified, you go with the simplified. If you want that, the more advanced, you go with the more advanced. I am in complete support of this. It gives us more options, but retains the legacy options. So let's go ahead and look at other things of notability that have changed. The notifications is one of the things that they had talked about. And we had said that might be too much blue. I think enough people have said that because they didn't do that. Of course, I am on the old legacy theme. Let me go back into the modern theme to show you, because we can't show you what we're talking about if we do that. All right, let's go back to our notifications. And when you click the notification now on the default, you'll notice it's black with just the accent color. So this is not too much green. I'm guessing they received a lot of feedback saying, yeah, that would be way too much green if the whole notification was the accent color. That's how it was originally pitched. I think this is a really good solution. However, the pop-up tool menus, they are still your full accent color. So instead of being that old ugly colors there, you'll see that they are the accent color instead. So let's go ahead and go back to our themes, and we will change our themes. Let's go back to this theme here. Here's your accent colors are the blue. That should still be the blue. Let's go with the red. So you can see how they're changing the accent colors to match that. All right, so now let's go back to that notification system and show our test notification. You can see our test notification now has the slight hint of the accent color, so that looks really good. I am in complete support of that one. There is, I got to remember where the login window is at. Okay, login window is down here. We need to enter our super secret password. Inside of your login window, this is where you change the background color, can stretch multiple monitors, draw user backgrounds. If you want the grid, you could do that. And then here's your themes. So you can set your themes inside of there, your mouse pointer size. And then under your users, we can allow manual login. We can hide the user list. We can allow the guest sessions, or we can do an automatic login to any particular system you have there. So that is all the options. Here's your panels. So onboard's on-screen keyboard. There's battery power. So you can basically show or hide a variety of different options right here. So as far as the basic layouts are concerned, that is pretty good. And the next thing that is different is our software manager. So the software manager is, they revamped it a little bit to put things in a few different places. And it did take, I booted this up first just to make sure it was working. We now have a whole section for featured up here. So here's your basic featured ones. We got Google Earth, we got Woke Warden, we got Slack, we got Skype. Yeah, if you missed the weekly news roundup last week, I think I was on the band news, actually. Here's your categories, so if you want specific flat packs or just the random categories. And then we have the top rated options over here as well. So there is your various options. And once again, if you click in on something, it's going to show you if you have the repository or a flat pack. So you can easily choose which one you are looking for, and then you can see all of the version information. Just warning, the flat pack for Audacity still is going to have some telemetry built in, so be aware of the Flatpak Audacity because it is now owned by a company that wants to collect data and statistics. So just be aware of that. So there is your new software manager. Let's go ahead and have a look at our system information. I can't remember if it's about or is it system. I think it's system information on this. So here's your system info. We have Linux Mint Cinnamon 21.2. Our Cinnamon version is 5.8.2. We have our Linux kernel is 5.15, still a little bit older of a Linux kernel. They usually do that intentionally, specifically because this is going to support the widest range of hardware. I know at one point in time they were working on, I'm not sure if they still have it or if they're planning on having it. They had like an advanced hardware one which shipped a newer kernel. I'm not sure if that is still a thing or maybe I'm confusing this with something else. You can come over here, so if you want to use 5.19, you can do that right here without any real issue. So this is supported just for a few months, and then you will have to continuously update your kernel. No real big deal. These are the small updates needed since this was released just a couple days ago from the time I am getting to do this. So overall, it is a really nice looking system. For the most part, I really like what I'm seeing. The downsides, of course, we've lost the traditional way of doing that. Okay, I'm just an old dinosaur. I'll deal with that with my method of fixing that. Other than that, the changes and notifications, all that kind of stuff looks really good. We do have some nice new desktop backgrounds. Of course, Linux Mint always gives us some nice backgrounds. So there's some Greece. Here's some fireworks. Here's Japan, Morocco. There's a curtain. And there's a red mountain. Ooh, that's beautiful. Look at that. So, like usual, they have a lot of really nice, really compelling screensaver or desktop backgrounds there. I'll go ahead and stick with that purple flower for now. Of course, inside of your desktop settings, you can go into your, I believe it's under Customize, Desktop Settings, and you can turn on your desktop icons if you happen to like those. I personally do, so we'll go ahead and turn those on. And then you can show the icons a variety of different places. So overall, we have a really nice system working out here. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other new features in here that we did not already cover. One of the things is the thumbnail generation is going to be much faster, much better in this. That's something I'm excited to check, but I don't want to check it in the VirtualBox. We're going to do it when we have a full build to test out. We talked about the slick greeter with the various menu options, and then on the layout used for onboard, on the onboard screen board is configurable, so you can configure that. We covered those. We covered the new software manager. We did not cover Pix. Pix was, they did some new theming and such. This is not an application I actually generally use a lot. I probably should look at it because I believe I can do a lot more sorting and organization. Basically, they said they cleaned it up a little bit and made it look a little nicer. I wouldn't know because I generally, like I said, I don't really use it. But they say new GThumb UI was adopted, uses header bars and header buttons instead of toolbars and menu bars. I've been seeing a lot of applications moving in that direction. Slightly less discoverable for newcomers, but it looks very clean and quite intuitive. I can say they did that on Evolution. I hated it for about a week, and I'm indifferent to it now. So maybe that's just me becoming like, have I been adopted into the Borg? Oh, resistance is futile. Those stupid menu bars and stuff are coming. Oh, well, header bars, I guess they're called. But anyway, that's, let me show you guys that again, just in case. So if you'll notice here where the close and minimize and maximize are in line with other tools and other options like this. This is a new trendy thing that GTK is doing compared to something like Firefox here, where you'll see the title bar and the minimize, maximize buttons, and then we have a separate toolbar here, which in Firefox is hidden by default, but you can toggle it on and off with the Alt button. So that's the old way of doing things. This is the new way of doing things. Of course, I just closed the window that I was reading through to talk about what we did. So we'll just go ahead and pull that guy back open there. So that's what is going on with that. That's what they're talking about with the Pix theme there. And here's a bunch more geeky stuff you can read about on the What's New option inside. Here we did cover extensively the look and the feel of it, so we're not going to spend any more time over there. We did look at the tooltips, the title bars, the mono icons. That is something I didn't talk about, but it is easy to mention. Let's just go ahead and do that. So these are referring to things like context menus and things like this. These are little icons. They redid these, so instead of actually using icons, they're utilizing a symbolic icon, which is going to it looks effectively the same, but it works well whether you're on a light theme or a dark theme option. It's going to work well either way. And that is really what they were going for, because there were times using the old methodology, if you toggled to like a dark theme, menu options would disappear on you and you couldn't see them as well, and that has been resolved by using those. Although some applications such as transmission, they are still using the menu bar buttons, like they're using the buttons, in which case they're using the Adwaita buttons by default. So it may look slightly out of place, but it's very easy. It's not going to have issues with light or dark theme, and it is intuitive. It just may not completely match everything else in the system. I know some of you are going to complain about that, but for me, I don't really care. As long as my stuff is functional, I'd rather read it than worry about, oh no, the icon is different than the other application. Shut up. Get over it. Sorry, we can't all be as perfect as spyware Windows, you know, which, by the way, they suffer from the same problem. Just ask anyone who's looking for settings. So now we have the desktop portal, added XApp for Cinnamon, Mate, provides better compatibility between desktop environments, non-native applications such as Flatpaks or no maps. We can do the prefer light, prefer dark. That's the part of what we were looking at. Here's your styles and Cinnamon. We covered that in detail. Here's your new notification. And there is gesture support added for various options. So gestures on touchpads and touchscreens and tablets. Let's see. Is that under... It's going to be under window management. Let's go ahead and look at that. I did not actually... let's see that. And then we're going to do, it's going to be under your, I think, Windows or window tiling. Is it under here? No. All right, so that's going to be under your gestures option, which didn't show up for me because I don't have a touchpad right here. So that's something to test out on the laptop. When this rolls out to the laptop, we'll give that a try. Warpinator, there's a big discussion here in Warpinator. The gist of it is a lot of redesign, making sure that it's mode isolated, so it can only access files in and out of the dedicated folder designed to upload and download to. This improves security because Warpinator has taken over the world. People are now using it as a good replacement for several other things as far as sharing files across multiple desktops. There's even a unofficial Android app as well, so you can use Warpinator to share files on your local network between your computer and your phone. Blue Man updated. We have full support for HEIF and AVIF image files. I didn't see if WebM was in that list. I'm not sure if it fully supports WebM at this point in time. I know that Plasma does not on my Manjaro system, but we'll see. Adobe Illustrator documents supported by XReader and the document viewer. So AI files, it's coming for us, but you can read it in the XReader, so it's all good. Mint Y Legacy is Mint Y. So the folder color switcher no longer tries to guess icons based on their name. The color matches are defined in user share folder colors.d. So if you want to do some customizations in that, you can do that. And NVIDIA Offloaded is now handled by libx app and delegated to the switcheroo. Well, they pulled the old switcheroo on that one. I have no idea what any of that means. I don't use NVIDIA. All right, so here's your artwork. We covered that. And then main components, Cinnamon 8, Linux kernel 5.15, Ubuntu 22.04 package base, and supported until 2027. So there is the rundown on our Linux Mint 21.2 beta. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know your thoughts on this. Are you excited to use it? Are you going to spin it up on your full production system? Or are you going to say, whatever, sounds neat. We'll wait for next time I'm building a new computer and see what happens then. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.